Good morning. Welcome to Friday, June 14th. Today is day number 43 of Riley and my through hike attempt on the Appalachian Trail going northbound. Van Gogh here. I think it's a little past 9 a.m., maybe 9:30 or so. I started packing up about 8 a.m. So we are at mile 577.4, according to Far Out, just past Davis Farm campsite, which is like it's a campsite that's 4/10 or 5/10 of a mile off the trail, which is really far to go to a campsite. And I found out last night that there was another campsite, which was this campsite, just 1/10 of a mile after the turnoff for Davis Farm campsite, and it's like basically right on the trail. So this is where we stayed. This was our tent site last night, or the place where we set up our tent. We got to the road, Virginia 623, last night, and just before we got there was like a vehicle that had like stopped for several minutes right at the trailhead, like just before we got there. So as Riley and I were approaching, I could see the headlights of the vehicle, and it was already dark, and Riley and I actually decided to stop on the trail until the vehicle passed, because I just didn't feel comfortable walking up in the dark to another person in a vehicle who I didn't know. So eventually they passed, and there were campsites down at the road, but seeing the vehicle there, I guess number one, I don't like camping near a road, or right on a road. It's a less safe option. So I decided to cross the road and see if there was another campsite like a little further in. And of course there wasn't, but I did know that there was this Davis Farm campsite about a mile in, and I knew that there was this additional campsite just after Davis Farm campsite. So that that became our target. I did need to use my phone light last night, and my phone actually ended up running out of battery when we were at 2/10 of a mile away from Davis Farm campsite. So that caused me to use my backup light, which is my actual power bank, which I use to charge my phone. It has a light that's part of the power bank, so I was able to use that to get us to the campsite here and also help set up my tent. So, and then just as we got to the campsite, I was in the process of securing Riley to one of the trees here. It may have been that tree, which I do so that I can then set up our camp freely without needing to hold on to Riley. And I had unhooked Riley, and I was in the process of looping his leash around the trunk, and then I was going to hook it back onto his harness. And right in the middle of that process, he saw something, some animal, or he thought it was an animal, and he lunged for it. And thank goodness I was holding on to his harness tight enough while I was fiddling with his leash to get it around the trunk. And he lunged, he was going for the animal, and I was holding onto his harness just tight enough that I was able to maintain control of him. But he caught me by surprise. If I wasn't holding onto his harness as tight as I was, he could have easily gotten away from me. And it was dark at that point, and I did not have a very good source of light. I did have my power bank light, so that was something, but it would have been awful if he had run off looking for an animal. absolutely awful. So it was good that I was holding onto his harness. I was just doing that as a precaution. I was not expecting him to lunge and try to go after something. So that was yeah. I'm just thankful that he's here. Riley, how you doing, buddy? I love you very much, Riley. I love you very much. So it's a reminder of all the things that like I make small concerns about, like trying to get to a restaurant or trying to get to a hostel so that I can get a good meal. None of it matters if Riley and I are not together and are not safe. And so it's a reminder to be thankful for all the times that we are together, and also to be as safe as possible to make sure that nothing bad happens, or at least nothing bad happens beyond the ability with which we can control it. All right, so Riley and I are together. We're safe. We're starting the day, and we have the natural light to work with, which is awesome. It with all the problems that I'm having with getting my headlamp powered up, and all this stems back to Atkins, where I wasn't able to find AAA batteries in either of the gas station convenience stores, and when I was eating in the Mexican restaurant, they did not allow me to charge any of my devices. So that's a big cause of the power issues that I'm having now. The next opportunity so there is a restaurant about 15 miles from here that we might get to today. It's called Brushy Mountain Outpost, and they might have outlets that I can use to charge some devices when we get there. But as of now, my power bank is, I think it's like out of power at this point, and my phone has like 1% power. The only things I have power in are the GoPro. I have one battery. I'm on the last battery right now, and then I have my Kindle, which has like 75% power. So as a result of that, I'm going to be very concise and brief and limited with the videos today, because I am only relying on this last GoPro battery. So that's an explanation for why that is. And with that, we are going to get started with the day, with the hiking day, and we're going to try to have a good day, and I will try to provide an update later on with how it's going. So hope everyone's doing well, and Riley and I will check in later. All right, bye for now. And yeah, like I said, we're starting the day at Davis Farm Camps, or just after Davis Farm Campsite, mile 577.4 on the trail. Okay, bye for now. Yeah. Hunting Camp Creek Wilderness. All right, Riley has had 2 bell movements already and 1 long pee, which is pretty typical for him in the early morning. Check in later. Riley. All right, so Riley and I took a nice break a little while ago after we got to Jenkins Shelter, which is 3.5 miles from our campsite, and filled up on water there, and then hiked up a little bit, and got to a campsite, and took a break there, and I was able to use the bathroom. I hiked up because I didn't want to use the bathroom close to the water source. Anyway, so did that and was able to drink up on water. I filled up on 2 liters of water, and was able to drink some and give Riley some food and put water in his food, lots of water in his food, so he got hydrated and got a little snack. And I fed my belly a little bit, and we've continued hiking, and I think we're close to the top of the mountain. now. My guidebook says we have a good flat stretch for a little while before we descend. And then we're going to go up another mountain. Anyway, I got to be concise here because that's what I said I was going to do. We were walking along and I saw this bag here. And I'm like, what's this? What's this? Is this like somebody's trash or something? And I'm like, that looks like a payday bar and it looks like it's got something inside it. Oh my goodness, what is this? Oh my goodness, I've already looked inside. But I'm gonna show you guys, show everybody here. So there is payday bar. In case anybody doesn't know what a payday is, it is candy bar made of peanuts and caramel. Absolutely delicious. And there is a big Texas cinnamon roll. Fully enclosed, unopened. Best by July 13th, 2024. Today is June 13th, 2024. So it's fresh. So, I think this is like somebody's form of trail magic. Just leaving like this stuff out here. It's probably somebody's form of trail magic. And there's only 2 items in it. And I'm gonna take both of them. Because I'm gonna really appreciate them. If someone wants to call me selfish for taking both of them, that's fine. Call me selfish. And I'm going to take the bag too, so I'm not going to leave any trash out here. I'm actually getting a little low on food. I have plenty of food for Riley, but I have like still some crackers from Damascus, and I have some pancake mix. And I have some coconut cake mix, coconut cake like powder, which is delicious when I mix it with water. And I have like some maple and brown sugar oatmeal. And I have some like dinner mixture that has ramen and instant mashed potatoes, but just a little bit of that. And I have a bunch of oatmeal cream pies, probably like at least a dozen left. And I still have those 2 donuts. So I have a lot of sweets, and this is going to add to my sweets. I don't have a lot of like actual core dinners or core meals. Anyway, I'm very thankful for this. I'm going to enjoy these, and we'll check in later. All right, bye for now. All right, so Riley and Van Gogh here, checking in with an update. It's probably about 6 p.m. now. And it's been kind of warm. So Riley's been, and there's just not much breeze, just kind of warm. And Riley's been asking to take a few breaks. So we've taken a couple breaks, and then I found this nice shady spot. So I figured this would be a good spot to take another break and just let Riley rest up. And while we're resting, it's got a nice little kind of a stool here, perfect spot to sit down. And I figured I would show the donuts. These are the Seavers donuts that I was talking so much about. They're like a couple days old now. I guess I got to Atkins on I think it was Tuesday. I think it was Tuesday. So this is what they look like. Still looks really nice. Couple days old, but the glaze is nice and still nice and moist. And it's still absolutely delicious. So that's what they look like. And very delicious. Figure while we take a break, I got my my Kindle out here, and I'm gonna do some reading because I don't get to read enough in my tent. I've actually been able to do some reading the past couple nights, but if I can do some reading during the day while we're taking a break, then that's all the better. So we will check in later. Yeah, bye for now. All right, so I got a hold of Riley here. He's on leash, but I have extra protection by holding his harness here. And we just saw 2 bear cubs. One scampered up the tree there, and it's still high up in the tree. I can't see it right now. And then another one ran off down further in the forest. And I can still hear some leaves rustling a little bit. Man, so many bears out here. Calm down, Riley. I can see it moving. I can see it moving. Hey, Riley, it's okay, buddy. It's okay. Okay, so, little excitement. All right, we're gonna try to continue on, and I'm gonna cut the camera off here. Just a quick little follow-up. All right, we're getting to a sign here. All right, trail boss, trail left, AT right. Very good. Going north. This way, right. Yeah, so just a quick follow-up. We were able to get moving without too much difficulty. So the bear cubs are back there, and we are on our way. Riley has calmed down. He is definitely Riley, hey, let me in front. He is definitely more energized now. He's walking with renewed purpose, but at least he's not barking, and no fights breaking out between dogs and bears. Oh, and there's a hiker here. Okay, so I'll check in later. Little update here. Riley, so ever since the last time I had the camera on, I cut it off because that other hiker was coming. His name was Lifeline, who I mentioned, I think, yesterday. And ever since he passed us, Riley has been go, 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 go. It's helped that it's been a little bit later in the evening, so it's cooled down a bit. But Riley is just full of energy now. I assume it's after 8 o'clock right now, and we have we just got spat out onto this little road here, and we're very close to this place called the Brushy Mountain Outpost, which is like a grill slash restaurant. And I think the mountain that we just or the range that we just got through, which is about 6 miles, is called Brushy Mountain, so that would make sense that it's called the Brushy Mountain Outpost. And I believe we're just supposed to go straight here. I believe so. Hopefully so. However, don't get too excited. This place called the Brushy Mountain Outpost, they close early in the day, like at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, so they're not going to be open
at this hour. But I am hopeful and interested in 3 things. 1, do they have a trash can outside? I think they should have a trash can outside. That would allow me to throw away my trash and also throw away my empty donut bag and plastic container that the dozen donuts of Seaver's Donuts came in. The main thing I want to throw away is the donut container. That would be nice. Number 2, do they have a water spigot outside? If so, that would allow me to drink up a bit and refill before heading on. And number 3, do they have charging? Do they have like power outlets outside the restaurant? Which would be awesome. It would allow me to charge my phone up, and then be able to call my parents, because I haven't called them in a while. Look at that nice sunset. Oh, that's beautiful. Hardly ever get this nice a view of the sunset, because I'm usually under the trees most of the time. Yeah, so having power outlets would allow me to charge my phone, charge up my GoPro a little bit, and charge up my power bank a little bit. So that would be nice. And actually, number 4, is there a place to camp like nearby the restaurant? If so, I don't think there is, but if so, that would be a serious option that I would consider, because it is getting to be about the time to settle down for the night. And like this would actually work as a campsite, possibly, but anyway. And then when we get up in the morning, I think they open early in the morning, and that would allow Riley and I to get some breakfast, or allow me to get some breakfast. So we'll see about those things. Riley, slow down, buddy. All right, we'll check in later. All right, so we are at the Brushy Mountain Outpost. Riley is waiting patiently here. Stay there, Riley. This is the place. And yes, they do have a trash can over there. No water spigot. No electrical outlets on the outside of the building. Brushy Mountain Outpost Trail Shop. They're open 7 to 4, Monday through Friday. Today is Friday, so even if we were able to camp outside in the hopes of getting an early breakfast tomorrow, they would be closed because tomorrow is Saturday. So Riley and I are going to continue on here. Trail continues that way. We're just going to see if we can get a campsite here. All right, we'll check in later. Riley and I just crossed over that big bridge there. Over that highway, using that bridge. By the way, that road that we got to where the Brushy Mountain Outpost was called US 52 North Scenic Highway. So we just have a little bit of light to work with. The shelter, next shelter, is 2.2 miles from where that restaurant was. And to get back into the woods, it's 0.8 of a mile, and we're almost there. Riley, what the hell is that? That is a snake there. Goodness gracious. It might be dead, but that's a friggin' snake in the middle of the road. Yeah, so it's an 0.8 of a mile walk to get back into the woods. So that means once we get back into the woods down here, it'll be another 1.4 miles to get to the shelter. Well, to get to the entry point to the shelter. It's another 0.3 of a mile off trail to get to the shelter. It's called Helvey's Mill Shelter. But that's just our next definite place of possibly stopping. There should be campsites before then. So
All right. We'll check in later. All right. Riley and I are in the dark now. We are actually outside of our tent. So just closing out the day here. We actually just hiked down the 0.8 miles after the Brushy Mountain Outpost. We hiked down to the parking area where the trail re-enters the woods, and right at this point, we got in the woods, and like immediately there's a pretty large campsite with space for several tents. And when we got here, it was still somewhat light out, although it was definitely getting dark. And I just decided that we would take one of the campsites here, because that's the easiest option, and it allowed me to set up our tent. So my tent, I'm actually right in front of the tent right now, although it's not really easy to or possible to see it, I guess, because there's no light. But yeah, so I was able to set up the tent without needing light, or without needing any external source of light. There's still enough, like the moon's out, the moon's up there, and there's still a little light from the sky. So this saved us the need to hike another 1.4 miles to get up to the shelter area, in which case we would have had to hike another 0.3 miles to either get to the shelter, or if we wanted to set up our tent, which is something I generally prefer to do, we would have definitely needed to do that in the dark, which would not be fun to do again. Yeah, so we're just gonna enjoy the night here. We're very close to the road, but we're not like right on the road. We are we do have some privacy, so I like that. And yeah, so I have like 65% battery power now on my last GoPro battery. I think we did about 15 and a half miles today. I'm not able to confirm that with far out because my phone doesn't have any battery, but according to my AWOL guidebook, I think we did about 15 and a half miles from just after Davis Path campsite, or Davis Farm campsite. And so I think that puts us at mile like 592.9, which I will try to confirm once I'm able to re-access my phone and the Far Out app. And over the next 2 days, tomorrow, depending on how far we get, I might decide to stay at a hostel called Weary Feet Hostel. That would require us to do a rather big day, though, like close to 18 miles. So that's a possibility. And over the next 2 days, we are about 30 miles south now of Woods Hole Hostel. So getting there on Sunday night is a possibility. And Woods Hole Hostel is one of the best hostels on the trail. So I'm definitely inclined to stay there, especially if we get there on Sunday night. So that's just a preview of our plans. But for now, we're just going to enjoy the night, get a good night's sleep, and be thankful that we're safe and sound. So hope everyone's doing well, and we will check in tomorrow. Bye for now. All right, Riley and I are back. I just thought of a few more things I wanted to mention / clarify. So last night, after the scare that I had with Riley, which I mentioned this morning, where I was in the process of securing him to a tree just when we got to our campsite, and he almost got away from me, and I was able to, I was fortunate to maintain control of him because I had 2 fingers holding on to the metal loop that is attached to his harness. So after that scare, and I eventually got him secured to the tree, and then I got the tent set up and we got into the tent. Even after we got into the tent, Riley was still hearing sounds of animals like moving around close by, and I was hearing sounds as well. And it definitely could have been bear activity that was bears just walking in the nearby vicinity of our tent. And Riley was very on edge inside the tent. Whenever he heard heard some rustling that sounded like something walking nearby, he stood up and he was barking loudly, and I was holding on to him very closely, like with both arms, because I was worried that if he got the motivation to do so, that he might just try to run through the tent, and the tent is not going to stop him if he wanted to run through it. So I was still not comfortable, even when we were in the tent. Whenever he heard something and got on edge, I was still holding on to him very closely to maintain control over him. And fortunately, eventually he did settle down and we were able to get a good night's sleep. But I kind of mentioned that just because tonight we are down near a parking area close to the town of Bland. We're not really in the wilderness. We're on the trail, but we're not really in like a wilderness part of the trail. So I'm not expecting any bears to be walking near our tents or much other wildlife to be bothering us. And Riley seems so much more at ease right now. He's just not bothered at all. It's actually a very warm night. He might not even, I have his jacket on, but he might not even need his jacket. So I'm thankful for what seems to be a much more relaxing and peaceful night tonight. And then a couple of clarification things real quickly is I showed the donuts earlier, but if you haven't been watching the videos like in succession, you might not really understand why I showed those donuts. So a couple days ago, I was in the town of Atkins. Well, not really the town part. I just crossed over a road that was part of Atkins, and I happened to buy a dozen donuts that were Seavers brand that were sold at the Sunoco gas station, which is the first gas station you see when you're going northbound and you cross into Atkins. And I was very happy with my purchase of the Seavers donuts. They were very, very delicious, and so I wanted to show what they looked like on camera. Granted, if you're not a donut person, maybe you won't think these donuts are very special, but by hiker standards, I thought these donuts were super awesome, and I think I should have bought 2 dozen donuts, because I ate the first 9 like by the next morning, and then somehow I managed to hang on to the last 2, but I finished the last 2 shortly after I showed them on camera today. Anyway, so that's the backstory on the donuts, in case you were confused on that. And then also, I said I was going to do some reading earlier, and I was able to do some reading, but I didn't show, like, all I showed was like a dark bag, so that may have been confusing. I keep my Kindle in a doggy bag, and so I just showed the doggy bag. I didn't show the Kindle, so yeah, that may have been confusing. So just as I say, Riley's acting very peaceful. He starts barking. So anyway, so I just wanted to clarify those few things, and Riley and I will say goodnight, and we will check in tomorrow. All right, bye for now.